This episode is brought to you by Inspired Vapor Company. Inspired Vapor Company is a father-son vape shop chain, I guess. They have 3 locations in Saskatchewan, Melfort, Prince Albert, and Humboldt. Kevin and Blaine are in charge there, and their goal is to help as many people quit smoking.
That's right. I was going to say Kevin and Blaine Tates, not Tets, right?
Sure.
We've been calling them Tets. So sorry about that, boys. But yeah, these guys are out there. They're out to try and help you quit smoking, right? Cigarettes are bad, you guys. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's bad. And
you quit smoking.
I did. I definitely used vaping to quit smoking. So they're out there to help. So whether you want to use it to quit smoking or you already vape and like you're a veteran of it, they've got a bunch of different flavors and products there. So check out their website at inspiredvaporcompany.com and reach out to Blaine and Kevin for advice.
And if you use discount code, what is it? Moose
10.
Moose 10, you get a 10% discount on your order.
Yeah, at the checkout. So check those guys out, man. They're a class act for sure.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Emmett.
From Minivandal. And this is episode 87 of the Sit Down podcast.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show at all. Are you?
I was checking out some episodes beforehand a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Not as much as Ben, but
right.
Yeah.
So just to like ease some pressure, you guys, this is we're legit just hanging out. We're going to talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. If you want to plug the music, anything you got going on, for sure we're going to do that. But we're going to keep it cash and just the whole point of the show, basically, think of it as if we just met in a club or pub or whatever, and we're just getting to know each other. Think of it that way going in. So I don't want you guys to be nervous or anything. That's kind of how we can talk about what you had for breakfast this morning. Like,
have
it really
you
doesn't matter.
Seen the shows they've played? I don't think they're nervous for us. Hey, have you heard about Muse Canada? It's an inclusive nationwide collective for all arts, culture, and entertainment communities to provide communication, opportunity, and resources through networking and essential activism.
Yeah, they're all about connecting folks in the arts, cultures, and entertainment industries. Most importantly, they cross-connect across those industries, right? So musicians to filmmakers, photographers to artists to crafts to peoples to you name it, that's what they're trying to do. They welcome individuals, businesses, non-for-profits, associations, bands, and basically everything, you guys. So if you haven't heard of who they are, just give them a quick look-see at moosecanada.ca.
Musecanada.ca.
Muse.
Because Moose, it's us.
Did I say Moose?
You did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It should be Moose. Thank you guys. Welcome to the show. You guys are out of Saskatoon, am I right?
We are, yep.
Yeah.
Right on. I honestly, I don't do a whole shit ton of research with the guests. Like really, it's like the day of, I'll put it on, I'll go to YouTube and I'm like listening to you throughout the day. Like that's as far as my research goes. And I'll be dead honest with you. I really got stuck on that one that I posted on Instagram like an hour ago, the freaking Sonic and Beastie Boys mashup.
Oh yeah,
dude, that's like, it's going in my head right now still. That's freaking so kick-ass. I love it. Probably one of my favorites. Just saying, it sounds so good.
And the research that Joel is talking about, I normally do too, but I know you from before when you played in Prince Albert for the Chesterfest Couch Cabaret.
Right. Yeah. That was a super fun gig. That was sort of like, I think, the last one we did in our little mini tour back in 2019, back when touring was a thing.
That was fun. So before that, I haven't heard of you, and the bands that were playing before you were all blues rock. I don't even remember who was right before you, but it was rock, blues rock, and then these guys go on stage and it was like, oh shit, it's a party.
Freaking right.
Yeah.
So it like the genre, is it like like ska punk? Like what's the genre, you guys?
I think like at our core, I like to sort of consider us a ska punk band, but like that's the music that I listen to and write for. But we do draw a lot of influences from other genres, particularly Latin funk and rock, and we kind of just blend it all together. We have a lot of like, we don't just play a lot of songs in the same genre. We like to really mix it up during our set.
Yeah, and
right.
One of the other things too is like a lot of us have background in jazz as well, and so like we'll try to do some stuff that that kind of pushes the harmony a little bit more than what might be seen in a lot of the other genres more commonly. So yeah, like so we'll do a couple weird things here and there, and just kind of try to like, it's always tough whenever you try to define any band's genre, but we just like to play stuff that we think is fun, and it kind of falls in ska punk ish.
Right. I definitely could, even just watching your videos today, like you can pick up on it too. Like if, for those of you listening, like if it doesn't sound like it's something up your alley, I strongly urge you to like check out at least 2 videos, and like halfway through the first one, you're going to be into it. Like you're going to want to get up and party or have a good time. Like it definitely promotes that. So thank you for that. It fired me up. Definitely.
Yeah. And with that Sonic Beastie Boys mashup, like I think it kind of, that one really shows a lot of like a lot of us really were into 90s video games, into that kind of part of the nerd culture of that era, I guess. And we just like to do stuff that we think is really, really fun and try to make it like danceable and like something where people want to jump up and down to. Like it's just kind of a fun thing to do. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, man.
So how many band members do you have? Because it's not just you two.
Right. There's 6 of us total. So there's myself. I'm the front man. I do lead vocals, trumpet, and rhythm guitar. Emmett is the bass player. We have a drummer, Eric, trombone player, and second vocalist, Jess. Our guitar player, Everett, and of course, Cam, our longtime friend and keyboard player.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like usually bands are 3 or 4 people, maybe 5, but you're 6. Is that interesting to work with?
Like, is there how do you deal with conflict on like opinions and stuff? Do you guys go to a vote or like
it's an even number too, so it's not a tiebreaker type of vote.
Who's the boss? Who's the boss there?
Yeah. Ben does get the veto. This is his project. So yeah, Ben and like, but it's not like we all get a lot of say in and stuff like that, but ultimately, yeah, Ben does call the shots. If it's like down to like the, everyone wants to do it, evenly, yeah, Ben will get final say on that one.
Right. Does that happen frequently, or is it like, I know it's happened, right? But does it happen a lot, or is it
not really? We're all
even-minded,
pretty chill individuals. We're mostly on the same page with stuff. If people are just like, Ben, I absolutely hate this, I'm not going to force us to go and do something.
Think about it, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, like that's the big thing. Like it's the band is just a lot of fun to do, and like when we're getting stuff together, it's not like, there's very few situations that I've ever come across that people are like, no, like that was bad. And if it happens, then it's like a really quick solution. Like it's just like, yeah, let's figure it out, it'll work.
Yeah. So you haven't played much live performances since Chesterfest? Did I get that right?
Yeah. What was that our last big one? No, we had, well, the last show we played was right before COVID. I think it was like early February 2020. Yeah, we played at Black Cat, and that would have been the last show we did since. We were supposed to play, this was actually quite crushing in my opinion, but we were supposed to do the Ness Creek backwards Ness, or the last Nescape. They rebranded it this year.
Right.
We're supposed to do that at the beginning of September this year, and then literally 24 hours before the kick happened, they had to cancel it due to COVID again. So we're like, damn.
Yeah. We've got a couple unfortunate situations where we just can't quite get on the stage again, but you know, that's part of, you know, everyone's going through those same kind of pains right now. So it's we're looking forward to getting back on the stage eventually here too. So.
You do have something lined up for December, am I right?
Yeah, we just announced that we're our good buddies Apollo Sons out in Winnipeg. They're coming through town December 2nd at the Capitol, and we're gonna be opening for them. That's gonna be our official return now, I guess.
Hell yeah, man!
Cool.
I like the Capitol. It's growing on me. Sure, I've been going there a little bit more frequent. Like freaking, I think this year, or I guess this summer, was like the first time I ever really went there. And in the past month, I've been there like 3 times, I think, something like that. I'm just getting hooked. But it's good. I like that joint.
It helps that you know people that go there a lot.
Well, that's just it. Like I went there and, you know, saw 7 Mile Sun and freaking, yeah, good times for sure. We're going to be co-hosting something at the Cap. I don't know if you guys know about this, but the another Clash at the Cap 2. Did you hear about it at all yet or no?
Oh, okay. I think that the guys from Prehistoric were mentioning that last time we talked to them.
Man. Yes, I would strongly urge you guys to get in on that. That's going to be a fun time in January for sure. So the winner is going to have a video session with Prehistoric, a recording session with Skull Creek Studios, and a spot at next year's Moose Fest in Bellevue here. And then there's going to be a web designing credit in there too from Funky Moose Records, right?
Yeah, web design or digital marketing.
Digital marketing, that's what it is. Yeah. So it's gonna be, I don't know, just a big party. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. Shout out to Prehistoric, by the way. Those guys are great to work with.
They're not gay.
Yeah, they did our 2. We've got 2 like official music videos on our website. They did both of them, and they're just really good guys.
Frickin' right. Is that like the one in the sorry.
I was just on your website. I didn't even look at the videos.
The one with in the ring? What's that one called?
Oh yeah, Down and Out. Yeah.
Down and Out. Is that one of the Prehistoric videos or?
Yeah, that was the first one they did was Cruise Control, which is the one where we're just driving around getting chased by a guy in a gorilla mask who then later makes an appearance in the Down and Out video. But yeah, and then the second one we actually like Brad did us a solid there. He got us a boxing ring, Shears Martial Arts. Yeah, we got that place rented out for the weekend and just set up there, filmed it in the boxing ring there. It was actually, what did Rhett say? Emmett's not in that video. He was out east at Humber doing a year when that happened. So we had a replacement bassist, Rhett, and that I don't know that I think Rhett said that Muhammad Ali fought in that ring. I think no, it was moved. It was like that ring used to be somewhere else, and he did fight in it, and then they moved the ring over there. So
holy shit,
that was kind of a fun fact I learned about that.
Pretty dope.
Is that true or is that? You know,
no, I think it
we
was.
have to fact check. We have to fact check that.
We have to. Okay,
yeah, this is like that's a.
I'll call Rhett later to confirm, but he was telling me that like Rhett I think was very involved in Shears Martial Arts for a while there. So that's where he'd heard it from at least. So
yeah, that's cool, man. Hell yeah,
cool. I keep looking at your background, Ben. What?
What's going on there? This crazy eclectic blend of things. Yeah. So
is it Lego?
It is a bunch of Lego behind me right now. This is my office, I guess, my home office, and this is just kind of where everything has been piled over the years. I got a pretty large Lego collection, and our jam space is in the next room out to the left there with even more Lego in it.
Nice.
Cool. I'm trying to figure out what it all is. I see a pirate ship and I see some
there's a Star Wars one behind the chair, right?
Yeah.
The Death Star, yep.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different stuff in here. I don't know. The coolest one that I have, I think, is the that collector's edition Millennium Falcon that they came out with. That's in the next room there.
I saw that.
Sweet. I started freaking buying the Super Mario ones where you can like levels and stuff, and then you get the app on your phone. And I had my little dude playing that for like a week, and then it's kind of just been, you know.
And then it was yours.
And then it's mine sitting
Yeah.
downstairs. Yeah, you bet. A couple $100 later.
Yeah, Lego's really gone pretty nuts with their licensing as of late, from what I've seen. Like just like anything you can think of is now a Lego set.
Right?
Yeah. We just buy the random sets. Like you buy the blocks.
Right. Yeah.
You have them up in drawers, and then the kids go build.
They
go ahead,
get creative, and
yeah. And then, Dad, look, I made a tower. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I used to always gun. It was a gun. It was simple because you just needed a stack this way and have one going out, and then like an L. It always great. I'm not creative at all.
I used to. So Ben and I are brothers, and I used to. I'm his younger brother, so I used to mess with his Lego sets all the time because I was always about just like playing different stuff. I was like, I want to make like a Star Wars Lego set interact with like a pirate ship, and and I think I definitely ticked him off quite a bit growing up. I'd like you'd find like a Qui-Gon Jinn like person in the middle of like the pirate ship area, and then I'd like move part of like the Death Star and stuff. Yeah, it was
I'm definitely more of a models guy myself, I guess, but I mean, I do like to play around with it occasionally too.
So if you go to Ben's house, do you still fuck around with it a little bit and see if he notices or what?
I haven't been that bold yet. One of these days, I'll have to.
You can. He knows I'm there's a family debate as to like.
Well, it's not even a debate, actually. I got to
confirm. It's not a debate? Okay, sure.
Yeah. That Death Star is actually mine. It was gifted to me when I was in grade 8, and I have it confirmed from my family now. I had a phone call over the summer just to get it all set up. But
I'm holding that hostage for him. So don't touch anything.
Possession's 9/10 of the law, right?
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fun. Freaking rights. So, okay. How long has give me a little what's the word I'm looking for? Or
backstory.
Yeah, well, a backstory of the band. Like, where did you guys start off? How did you guys get together? Origins, that's the word I was thinking of.
Lesson.
I want a little origin story, if you guys don't mind.
For sure.
Our origin story, sure. So, well, how far back do we go here?
The diapers.
Yeah.
In 1995, Emmett was born.
How about when, like, around the time where you guys like official group? Like Minivandal was like official, you know what I mean? Kind of around era.
So there is a little bit more, I guess, history behind things because like Emmett and I have, well, not necessarily since he was born, but been playing together most of our lives.
Right.
In high school, we had a jazz combo called the Flu, and we met a lot of people through that and Jazz Fest, and then. Kind of towards the end of high school, I wanted to start a ska project. So I ran into another guy, or Cam, our keyboard player. I knew him as a trombone player from a jazz intensive that we had attended at the jazz festival, and he also happened to be in engineering with me. So I kind of talked to him and Emmett, and we formed a group called Mr. Fire.
Okay. And
we had that group together for about 5 years. That would have been from 2008 to 2014. Jordan Wellborn from Weapons, you guys might know, was our guitar player in that group.
For interesting.
Years. And in our jazz combo as well too. I went to high school with Jordan, so we're pretty good buds.
Shout out to Weapons.
Yeah. So after like Mr. Fire, we played our last show at the Capitol in 2014. That was right around the time the Capitol was opening. And fun fact, that would have been Emmett's first like legal show that he played.
Yeah. Just turned 19 for that show.
Yeah. So he played for like literally 5 years of just like underage bar gigs. It was pretty much all we had around here. So. But
wait, let me pause you right there. So underage bar gigs, is that like you can just go in, play the gig, and you got to get the hell out, or do you kind of like
Yeah, like the bylaw, so everything, like, yeah, I know it sounds like sketchy, but it's all above board. Like you can play in venues in Saskatchewan if you're underage, but you're not allowed to be in the presence of alcohol. So you can't like hang out in the bar, you hang out in the green room, and there's not supposed to be alcohol back there, or in those spots where I'd be hanging out underage.
Like how you said, not supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. But then you head from backstage onto stage, and then you have to leave right after, so you can't socialize. So it's like, wow. You kind of get in and get out is kind of the whole thing. So that's kind of like how that worked until I turned 19. I didn't really know. I was just like playing shows. I was like, yeah, go play the show, and then I got taken, because like I did get kicked out of the place like every time. I couldn't like hang out. Like I was a freaking like 14-year-old with braces showing up. Like obviously, like I was not like incognito.
Cool though. I think that's really interesting though, to have that story to be able to tell. Like, so when I was 14, I was fucking playing gigs in the bar. You know what I mean? I just think that's awesome.
And then that show at the Cap, you were 19.
Yeah.
Socialized after, and you forgot the rest of the night, or
I was it was honestly though the nicest part about that, like that was like a huge thing for me to be able to just hang out with people afterwards, because like all the time, if I wanted to hang out after the show, like I have to head out of the bar, and then I might catch people if they're going up for smoke, like for some smoke or something like that. Right. But like to be able to hang out in the bar on the last show, it was really, really kind of like good tips and tales to that whole project, because like it let me like actually have that experience instead of like always having to get rushed out. So that was like a lot of fun.
I should clarify too, because when I said like that was his first legal show in Saskatchewan, we did do a couple Alberta tours where you would have been 18 and silly there.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So like when you're 18 years old, that's got to be frustrating when you're like, fuck, birthday's in like 2 months, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. It's always kind of like a little bit frustrating when you get stuck in those situations when I was getting older in there. But like honestly, like for me, for that whole thing, it's like I get a chance to like I have an opportunity that a lot of people didn't have to have. Like
yeah.
So like, definitely. Like I was just like, I got to play music and like make some money playing music as a high school kid. I was just like, hell yeah. Like
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Freaking right. Okay, so we're in like 2014 then, right?
Yeah.
Where I cut you off there. Sorry. If
carry on.
Tragedy, heartbreak, the band breaks up. Emmett, well, you took off to South America for a year, right?
Yeah, I was in South America and in Nunavut for a while, and then I came back. I've done a whole bunch of random stuff, and I moved out east for a while too, and when Minivandal was a thing, like earlier in Minivandal. But yeah, so then like when I came back from South America and Nunavut, Ben and I wanted to kind of start playing some more music again, so we started doing some different jams, and then we started to get together with some different people, and started to kind of create Minivandal, more or less what it had, like the core parts of it, which has a lot of the same elements, because Mr. Fire was a ska punk band too, and so we took some of those same elements and kind of twisted them up a little bit and started doing some Minivandal jams. Ben can probably explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, when we like the first show we ever played as Mr. Fire, we had changed the name of the band at some point. We were originally started out as, I think, Drop Zone Response. It just didn't really roll off the tongue. So we played a ska punk covers gig at my buddy's Acreage, who was the drummer in that project at the time. And after that, like we did some ska punk stuff, but then we kind of drifted a little more towards the kind of like the poppier end of things towards the end. So when we started Minivandal, I really wanted to get back to our ska punk roots. And in fact, we actually did take a song of Mr. Fire's, Friendly Fire, which is on our debut album, and which was, like, in my opinion, one of the best ska punk songs we had written as that group. And we kind of retooled it for Minivandal, and that was kind of our jumping off point. And there's a few tunes that I was kind of working on towards the tail end of Mr. Fire that we also took into Minivandal. So yeah, the whole idea behind Minivandal was to get back to sort of our ska punk roots while still being able to experiment with some of our other stuff and kind of like re-envision things.
Right. Sweet, man. So then,
who came up with the name?
Well, what do we do? We took a vote, I think, and I mean, I drive a minivan.
Yeah,
that's really all there is to it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think the name is catchy, and sometimes people will think like the minivan and vandal kind of thing, and so we've kind of played into that a little bit more with the idea of like vandalism, but like in a positive way. So like just like taking a dirty minivan and then like drawing pictures on it.
if you go way back on our YouTube page, kind of the first promo for the first gig we ever played with the Steadies, who I also have a lot of connections with. I play with them whenever they do, or they do like their all-star lineup in town. I kind of like, we parked my van across the street and it was like really dirty outside, and I was like, okay, I have an idea. Went up to it and just kind of scrawled Minivandal into the dirt on the side of it and drove around like that for months because I don't ever wash my van.
Right. Yeah, I know it's almost pointless in Saskatchewan, right?
Yeah, I washed my car today. Guess what happened?
Yeah, we live. We're definitely off the beaten paths. It's like, unless you're washing your vehicle in your driveway, like it doesn't make sense to do it here because by the time you get it back, it's just freaking dirty again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think our original, like the original thing we had for Minivandal too, like the original name was it was Nocelot, right?
Yeah.
Which did, like, to me it sounded like a cool name. There was a band when we were growing up called North of Shorty, abbreviation NOS, also sounds like, you know, nitrous oxide or whatever. I had this idea that we could, like, an ocelot is like a cat, you know, you could put the cat on a race car, and that was the branding. And
that's why
everybody else was like, what are you talking about? It makes no sense. How do you spell that? And then anyway,
right.
It would be cool if your minivan had NOS bottles and then
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Maybe a project.
Just draw them in the dirt. Dirt on the Too deadly.
I've seen the van on your website. It's an Odyssey, right?
It's a 2004 Honda Odyssey, probably LX edition, I think.
Have you ever seen the fastest minivan on Earth?
I don't think so.
That is a Honda Odyssey.
Oh, nice.
And it's completely souped up. It has racing slicks, and it has, I don't know, an 800 horsepower engine in there or whatever. And it's pretty inconspicuous.
Like, sorry, is there like a video on this? Like, can we like?
Yeah, probably.
Like, you wouldn't know it to see it.
Well, if you look at the details, you'll see that the wheels are not standard, and then look at the tires. Like, okay,
something's up with this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right? But it sounds sportier than a minivan,
right?
But it's when it drives
by,
it's
American
like,
or Canadian?
Okay, minivan, and then he stomps on the.
Like in the States, I would presume.
Yeah, it's in the US.
Yeah.
Sounds like my kind of ride. Inconspicuous. You can kind of roll up beside somebody and be like,
a sleeper.
This is a minivan.
Yeah.
So were you guys? I'm gonna like bring it back a few months ago. Were you guys like practicing? You must have been jamming a lot to get ready for Ness Creek, and then, like you said, 24 hours prior to that, the plug got pulled, right?
Yeah. So we started rehearsing again in, what was it? Was it July? We were setting up outside in Emmett's backyard and running our tunes there.
Right.
It's kind of, okay. We also, I think we maybe rehearsed a couple times before then too. So we're kind of like a weird transitional phase. We were at that point. Our longtime drummer left the band in 2020. Like September 2020. And he's still transitioning with us, like, to finish off our next album. So we were rehearsing the album with him, and then we brought on our new drummer, Eric, who was going to play Ness Creek with us. So it was kind of like a mix of rehearsals with both of them throughout the summer months.
So then, now that you've got a set lined up in December, are you guys like back to rehearsing and jamming again right now? Or is that just
Yeah, we will be. Well, we're supposed to be rehearsing this weekend, but I don't know what's happening with that right now.
Yeah. It's just a scheduling thing, and like yeah. It's but yeah, we're gonna be hitting the shed the next little while to try to get everything nice and tight for that set. The nice part is like because we are in like some pre-production still for our new album. We have a lot of our different tracks that we can still play along to virtually with like just with some recordings we've already laid out. Just for some practice tracks just to kind of get us going. So that makes it kind of nice. But yeah, like I'm looking forward to those in-person rehearsals. That's like the one. Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's always been it's been a bit of a bummer when we've been in isolation and stuff. But yeah, that in-person jamming with people, like just like kind of getting that feel out. That's gonna be really, really nice to kind of really work out the kinks again. This summer we started to get it nice and going kind of a little bit more. Then the really cool part is Eric, our new drummer. He's also done a lot of different jazz stuff and a lot of improvised music as well. So one of the cool parts of having him in the band right now is that we got to kind of work on this new sort of vibe as a rhythm section and really try to figure out if we can kind of push the envelope a little bit in a couple different ways, which would be really great.
Right. Improvising, that's interesting. I don't hear that much. So is that basically like he's going in blind and he's just kind of like trying to pick it up? Is that like essentially what that is?
Yeah. So like with a lot of us in the band have done a lot of different jazz performing in the past. Like so I play in this band and a couple other bands, like and a lot of them are jazz related. And so when we're playing those different shows, and I've done a couple with Eric too, you have like the song itself, and then you basically, so you know what like the rough verses and choruses would be, but then you're gonna open it up and then make it kind of your own. And so you might have that set structure, but then that structure could repeat over and over again, and you could keep on doing different things until you want to finish the cycle off with like a chorus. So one of the really nice parts about Minivandal is in a lot of our songs, we open up our tunes when we're playing live to have solo sections so we can kind of riff off each other and try to make it a little bit different each time we play, which is nice.
Oh man, that
cool.
Even that just sounds like a lot of fun.
So do you all have jazz backgrounds?
I think this iteration of the band does. I believe everybody in the actually I think it's even more heavily so than some of the previous iterations. Like Everett is a very accomplished jazz guitar player. Like you said, Eric on drums. Jess, our trombone player, plays in the U of S Jazz Band. I did a stint in that too during my time in university. So did Emmett. Cam, our keyboard players, like he does some jazz related stuff.
So yeah, no, we all, and that's the really nice part is like we can all take, and we've done different things with jazz, but we all really like the idea of improvising, right? Mm-hmm. And that's like a core element of jazz that we really like and want to draw from in our performance.
Right. Cool. So tell me a little bit more about the album you guys are working on.
Yeah, so I guess like at this point we don't really want to give too terribly much away because it's still early on in the phases or whatever, but I think it's going to end up being about 11 tracks.
Sweet.
Some of them are tracks that we've like there's a couple of tracks that we wrote quite a while back that we're finally getting around to recording. There's one, Depth Perception, that we played live quite a few times. I think we actually wrote that right before the first album came out, but then it wasn't on that one. And yeah, 11 tracks total. I don't think we have any covers on this one. In the first album, we had a little bonus track that where is it? We got like on our physical CDs, which people totally still buy in today's day and age. At shows, you can.
Not sarcastic at all.
No,
dude. I'll tell you right now. I'll freaking buy one off of you, 100%, man. We'll talk about that after we're done here. But yes, I'll get one for sure. It has to be autographed though. But yes,
we can do that. Yeah,
do it right now. Yeah. I think we got this album at kind of like a little bit of a weird time too. Like we feel like that thing came out right when like CDs were kind of like, you know, it was starting to get really tough to push them at live shows, and now I think, I don't know, things tend to swing from what I've seen, at least when we've been trying to push stuff. And, you know, see, vinyl's huge right now. CDs are coming back a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. We all, like, everything that we put out, like, up until this, I'm not sure if we're going to do the next album on a CD or not. It's kind of hard to say at this point, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of having a CD in my hands. I like owning my music. I mean, like, streaming is convenient and stuff, but I really like having the physical copy and being able to have access to the songs sort of whenever. And then, yeah, we put like a little bonus track at the end of this thing, not on the track listing. We did a cover of Wake Me Up Before You Go Go by Wham, which is like,
nice.
Would not expect that at all, but it's
that's like, that makes me think of that Beastie Boys rendition. Like, that's, you wouldn't expect that, and it's just like, holy fuck, like, this thing slaps, man. It's so good. I love it.
So have you considered putting your music on vinyl?
I thought about it a little bit. Like, I guess being a small independent group that doesn't tour a whole lot, it's kind of hard to, you know, sell everything. Like, I don't know, Mr. Fire, I've still got like probably 500 CDs sitting in my basement that at some point will become coasters for people. So if you guys are looking at buying in bulk, by the way, or just
and with like the vinyl thing, like I don't know if like the aesthetic of like our ska punk feel like really goes, because the aesthetic is like having that sit down listen feel with a lot of vinyl. And so that's like, it's a harder one to sell.
That's, my friend, is where you are wrong.
Really?
Maybe around here. But,
okay.
One of the things that I've done since COVID started is even a little bit before, I've been really involved, I guess, social media, keeping tabs on stuff. And I really like this record out of the States called Bad Time Records. They put out almost exclusively vinyl for today's, like, a bunch of current ska punk bands in the States. And they're really killing it with all their releases lately. They do, their unique thing is they put out colored variants, which really, it's like, people just really seem to go for.
That's the collector, right? So is that like the same record, but you've got like 4 different colors? Like, it's one's released in red, one in yellow. Didn't Foo Fighters do that a few years back?
Oh, they're
a lot of people.
Actually, I have a David Bowie here that on the outside you can't see what color is inside, but it's either black or clear.
Right.
So
you don't know till you open it.
Yeah, exactly. So which one do you get? I don't know until you open it.
See, as you release like 1,000 white ones and like 50 black ones.
Yeah, Bad Time does from what I've seen, like almost exclusively variants, and they're pretty cool. So they'll do different pressings, and, you know, you'll get like, it's not just like you get a blue vinyl or whatever, like, they're, you know, crazy splash colors, a whole bunch of really cool things. Like, everyone's kind of like a little bit unique. So
like
check this one out. We hooked up we helped Northern Royals do this. Here, I'll let you take it out.
Oh.
And they picked all the patterns and designs and stuff like that, but it turned out really beautiful, man. I'm happy with it.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool looking.
Yeah.
I can't see our screen, so I hope it
as long as it's showing good there.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it looks kind of like, almost reminds me of like a dystopian eye, like something you'd see in yeah.
For sure.
In like a really cool way. That's awesome.
Now that's all you see?
I'll never look at this.
Yeah. What is that called? Isn't it just like a gold spatter or something like that is what it was called?
Gold splatter. Black mix. Yeah.
Freaking right. Nice. Yeah, you can do so many different things. Can I get it in there? Yeah, I did. It's good. It's
okay.
Good.
I was gonna say that's what she said, but whatever.
Yeah. Hell yeah! Even like cassettes, I think, are like coming back a little bit.
I do not understand cassettes.
I'm not on the cassette.
Well, it's all about the idea of non-permanence, right? Like whenever you're playing cassettes, like it's the idea is you only have a certain amount of listens, and so like the concept that's how I think about it. It's like
that's the same with a record too, though, dude.
It's true, but like it's less permanent with because records you have a couple more plays, I think, than maybe I'm wrong on that, than cassettes, but yeah, that's how I've always interpreted when people want to get cassettes, because they know that it's not gonna play back the same eventually, and it's gonna just die. So
have you ever worn out a cassette growing up?
Yes.
Well, I grew up past that era. Sorry, I'm a 95.
I was asking that. I was thinking that. I was like, I don't know. Do you know what a cassette is? Like,
I do. Yeah.
Like winding it up.
He's seen the pictures.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't think I've worn a tape out from playing it.
I have. Well, from the recording and the playing, and then the recording over it, and then the playing again.
Okay, but that's not like, you wouldn't buy a tape and then record over it.
No.
So you're talking about like the ones where you could like record other shit. Yeah, I've worn those ones out. But I mean like one that I've purchased, I don't think I've ever like legitimately worn it out.
I got to remember, I don't think I've ever bought cassettes, like album cassettes.
Right. I remember the first cassette I ever bought, dude.
What was it?
It was fucking Ninja Turtles soundtrack. The first.
That's awesome.
Cassette I ever got, and it was pink. The tape was pink.
Oh yeah, you were saying that. Yeah.
Is that the Vanilla Ice rap, like the Go Ninja?
That's the second Ninja Turtles.
The second one. Okay.
Yeah. I just loved that movie when I was a kid, and the soundtrack fucking sucks, but I just, because it was like the Ninja Turtles, right? Like, and I was a fan.
It was a pink cassette. So.
I didn't know it was a pink tape till I opened it up, and then I was actually a little upset about that. I was angry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a little sexist about it, and then just truth, like. But and I played that tape a lot, though. It grew on me for sure. I think there's like a song from Hammer, or MC Hammer, I think, on there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I remember. But yeah, that was my first tape. You?
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think I bought tapes.
Because you always just made your own, right?
Yeah. I was hanging around at the radio station a lot too.
I remember I had K7. Do you remember who K7 is, you guys?
Yes.
Like Come Baby Come. You remember that song?
Oh yeah.
Come baby, baby, come.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, I've had that tape too.
Who sings that?
K7.
Yeah, let them sing it.
Yeah. Swing, bada, bada, swing. That was the name of that album.
That's right. Yeah. What was the first CD you bought? What was the first CD you guys bought? You remember?
I don't remember like my parents had a bunch of CDs kind of growing up. I feel like maybe one of the first ones that I got, I think maybe it was Californication. I went to Tramps. I think I bought like maybe a few Chili Peppers CDs. Yeah. Or whatever that place that's right beside the Capitol is, like that used record store.
Like in the same building?
Yeah. It was, or at least it was there at one point. Maybe it's not there anymore.
Well, I think wasn't there like comic books and stuff like that there? Is that the one you're talking
about? Yeah. Actually, I think it was before the Capitol was even in there. So, or maybe that was Crawdads where it was downtown around in that same area. That's where I
cool.
Yeah. I think the first album I ever, well, actually it was the first album that I owned, but I didn't buy it. I got it gifted to me from one of my first girlfriends, and it was Candy Coated Fur, Real Big Fish.
Fury.
Oh, sorry.
Candy Coated Fury.
Oh, Candy Coated Fury by Real Big Fish. Yeah, which was like actually, the album itself, I don't mind it as much. I prefer like Real Big Fish's earlier stuff a little bit more, but I just remember being like yes, like I loved Real Big Fish growing up, and so I was like, I gotta, like, when I got gifted that album, I was like, this is the first time I have something that I'm not just like mooching. I used to mooch off of Ben and my parents or whoever had albums. I'd just be like, yeah, let's listen to those CDs, and I was like, this is mine. I'm gonna rock this thing.
Dude, I totally remember that same feeling.
Yeah.
100%. I remember going into like Music City, and I don't remember the name, A&E, I think it was called, or A&B. Like I used to go in those music stores, and I would go to like the new release section.
HMV.
Yeah. And I'd like pick just random ones that I didn't know anything about, and I would go and I'd play it and be like, is this something I can jive with?
Yep.
You know, because it was like me finding my own. You know what I mean? Love that feeling.
That's how I got my Prodigy album.
Is it?
Yeah.
I found Slipknot like that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's how I was like, holy shit, I'm totally buying this right now.
Music for the Jilted Generation. I hit the first track and I was like, oh, this is coming home with me. Yep. That was not the first album I bought. That was The Sound of 501. It was a compilation album of in Holland there are Levi's commercials, and in that time there were those old Motown soul songs under those commercials.
Okay.
And EMI put those together into albums, and they sold those albums as The Sound of 501. So the first album that came out with those songs, like Benny King is on there and stuff like that. So yeah, that was the first one I bought.
And that was a CD.
CD, yeah.
Freaking rights.
You?
First CD that I remember the first CD. I remember my parents getting a CD player, and it was about this thick, maybe like 2-3 inches thick, and I don't know, 1.5 feet wide. Played one CD at a time. You had to connect it to the speakers. And I remember they got 4 or 5 CDs with that. And there was Dwight Yoakam, Alana Miles. I feel like it was like rock and roll of the 50s or some shit, and maybe another one. Now those ones weren't mine, but those are like, we got those with it. And I remember rocking out Alana Miles. Like that was a good one. That was a good album, man. But the first one I bought, I don't exactly remember. I remember Columbia House and getting a whole shit ton. But
that was a t-shirt you were.
Yeah, I know. Last week I had a t-shirt that said I still owe money to Columbia House. But I don't remember if those are my first ones. So I don't know. There was a stack of like Ozzy was in there, Foo Fighters, maybe Presidents of the United States of America, maybe, or maybe it was Smashing Pumpkins, maybe. I don't remember. It was around that time though. Marilyn Manson, maybe. Smells Like, or Portrait of an American Family. I don't remember. Frick, I'm just shooting out all the to listen to. I don't remember.
Minivandal. I don't know.
Minivandal. Minivandal will be the last CD I ever buy, dude. Might be the last one I ever buy.
No,
probably not.
No.
It's a bold,
I hope not.
claim.
Side note, Alien to the Ignorant.
Yeah. Oh, they just released a.
Yep. They should have their CDs out, and the vinyl is coming.
I was having a conversation with Swade the other day about who is the bigger Batman Beyond fan. I think he might be. Honestly,
Beyond, is that the newer one?
That's 2000, I guess, is when it came, or 1999.
Like Christian Bale.
Swade, don't bash me on this. Okay.
No, this is pre-Christian Bale. This is post It's
a cartoon.
It's a cartoon still.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's like when Batman's a teenager and there's like an old Bruce Wayne as his mentor.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was really
sorry
when I was younger.
Are you guys into Superman too?
Yeah, I guess I would consider myself I really like the 90s DC animated universe. I'm big into that. I got the whole collection here at my place.
Sweet.
Yeah. 90s for me it was like all about the 90s Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man show. I don't know if you remember that. Radioactive Spider-Man, that whole
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The guy from Aerosmith did that theme song, I think. Wasn't it? Guitar player?
I think so. I had to double check though.
Oh,
I think so.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
Remember Gargoyles? You guys might be.
I actually just when Disney Plus came out a couple years ago, I rewatched that series.
Gargoyles? Yeah, man. And Thundercats, I remember them.
Anyway.
Fun little side note about Gargoyles was growing up. I just remember I loved Gargoyles growing up, and we had some of the Gargoyles action figures at home or whatever, but my parents were super strict about no weapons, can't have weapons with your toys. So they took away all the weapons. I was super choked. Nowadays that's probably would have been, I don't know, some sort of a collector thing, I guess, but
now you just bitter at your parents.
Yeah.
Worth $400.
That's awesome. Hey, I think the voice of the main gargoyle, isn't that the same guy who did like Tony the Tiger or some shit? Maybe. Don't quote.
The guy that voices Goliath. Man, I can't believe I'm trying.
He was like a famous voice actor, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's in a bunch of stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head now. I was looking this up like when Gargoyles came out, but now it's been a little bit old. That's insane.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah.
Superman.
I was going somewhere with that, but I lost my train of thought.
On DC.
Yeah. Well, you could always tie it into like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You know,
that was oh man, I remember playing that. I smoked so much pot playing that game. It was so addicting. You ever play that on PlayStation?
The weed or the game?
Like do both, like just get really, really baked and play Tony Hawk.
I remember loving the what was it, the warehouse level? That was like my favorite level on that, where you have to like you go down a ramp and then you like fly, or sorry, you go down this ramp and fly in through like this bonus area that would like crash open all the glass and then you like land a trick. That was like my favorite thing growing up.
I played a lot of that game, Frank.
But you don't remember.
I don't remember that much of it. I remember little bits and parts, but
yeah.
A lot of people's
Superman was always playing in the background of that level. That's
yeah. Like a lot of people's entry point into Ska Punk was the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. Like Goldfinger by Superman or Superman by Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Like inspired, I think, generations of a whole generation of Ska Punk musicians just listening.
Yeah, when I also am a music educator. Like I teach elementary school music, and so whenever I bring up like ska music, and people are like, I don't know what that is, I'll be like, did you ever play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or anything like that? And they're like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, it's that music, and they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, okay, there we go.
That's how you get them. Oh, that's cool. How long have you been teaching for?
This is my first full year, which is sweet. Yeah, I was doing a whole bunch of online school during the pandemic and did my internship last year. So now I'm a teacher and all that stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So to get back to your travels,
to
South America, but also none of it.
Yeah, I was part of a program called Canada World Youth, and so like basically you do cultural exchange stuff. Where I went to Nunavut and hung out in the town of Rankin Inlet with like different families from the area, and then just like volunteered and just wanted to learn more about the culture and the people. And then I went down to South America right after, also funded by that same program, and hung out in Peru in like the middle of the Andes in a small town called Nato. And so yeah, it was really cool. Like, basically I got to travel and like meet people and hang out, and like the government of Canada funded that stuff back in the day. Not anymore. They stopped. Actually, I was on the second last trip before they cut funding. But yeah, it was like sweet. I got to just like hang out for like 6 months.
How old were you when you did that?
I was 19.
Wow, that's intimidating, man. Holy shit. I don't think I could have done that.
Oh no, it was a blast. Like honestly, like yeah, I think it's one of those things where like when you first go, you're like, I don't know, but then all of a sudden you're there and you're just like hanging out with people, and it's like, yeah, this is awesome.
Right. Like you were obviously playing music at 19. So did you click with other musicians out there, or?
Yeah, like when I was in Nunavut, I brought my U bass with me, a little ukulele size bass here. Actually, I got it right over here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Okay. Yeah, so I brought this thing. It's actually broken. I got one of the, but yeah, I didn't have any room to bring my basses with me when I was traveling, because I basically only had my carry-on stuff. And so this was like half the stuff I brought actually when I was traveling, but just like had this in my hand in a little tiny case. And then I just hung out with different people. I went to there was actually a CBC radio station in Rankin Inlet that I used to hang out at. And then they let us like go live on the air. because there wasn't a lot happening in Rankin Inlet, Nunavut. So I used to just jam tunes on CBC radio.
You should have been listening us.
Yeah, that was like pretty hilarious, just like randomly doing that stuff. But yeah, so I got to meet some people. And then in South America, it was a little bit tougher. I was learning Spanish at the time, so I'd hang out and jam a little bit and go to shows, but I wasn't doing as much as I was in Nunavut. But I went back quite a few times and then did a little bit of like hanging out, occasionally jamming a couple things, but yeah, not a lot of performing when I was down there.
Yeah. Do you keep in touch with some of the like people that you've met there? I would assume so, right?
Yeah. I try to send some messages to the families that I stay with every now and again. And then my old roommate, Carlos, he's a pretty good friend of mine. He actually lives in the States now. And so yeah, we've done 3 or 4 trips since then, trying to go to different places. I went to visit him in South America twice. He came to Canada once. And yeah, no, I try to keep in touch. It was a really cool part of my life. And it was, yeah, it really informed a lot of, like, I did a lot of music writing when I was in Peru, and just wanted to, like, it kind of centered me a little bit more as to like how I want to approach music. And just like, it's more about like, I don't know, for me, music and life is just about relationships without trying to be too deep or anything. I think it's just like when you're doing all the music stuff, like if you have relationships with what you're writing and the people you're writing it with, or if you're just trying to write it for yourself, trying to really focus on that aspect of it really makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable. And so like, that's what I like to do. And that trip really informed that for me.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So when you guys are writing music, how do you guys do that collaboratively? Like, is it just like, I'm gonna, like, I ask this question a lot to a lot of the guests, so I think I might know the answer to it, because it all seems to be relatively the same answer, where like one of you guys will have an idea and you take it to the rest of them, and then you all kind of try and piece it together and make it work, right? Essentially.
Basically close to, like, Ben can also speak to that too. But what we've done is Ben has a lot of the ideas. I'll jump in with a couple ones. Same with Cam, we're like the primary writers in the group, I guess. And then we'll all add our own parts. What I found my role is a lot is like, I might rearrange something. So like if I hear something, I might be like, and this happens with a lot of other people in the band too. We'll hear something and we'll be like, that was really cool. But what if we change this entire section or take this other thing we jammed and inserted it there? Right. And then just kind of do all the arranging that way. Ben, you can probably talk a lot more to that too, because you do more writing on band. Yeah,
I write all the lyrics, except for one song actually on the new album. We let Jess do the lyrics for a song, and that turned out really well. I'm very excited for that one. So yeah, a lot of the times, I don't know, some people I listen to a lot of, like, in my spare time, like songwriting podcasts, I guess, and you hear people, like, there's a lot of people that just form the whole song by themselves, like they can kind of hear every aspect of it. Sometimes that happens to me. More often than not, it's like the music and lyrics are separate. I'll usually be just jamming out to like a riff or something, and I'll like to form the music sort of beforehand, and the lyrics come afterwards. I usually try to like make the lyrics fit the song. There's been a few instances where I've written the lyrics beforehand, but yeah, for the most part, it's like the music first and the lyrics for me. And right. I'll specifically, like, I'll come up with ideas. I'll bring them to the band, like everybody to sort of form their parts around them. And then other instances, I'll say like, hey, I really want to, like, Cam, do you have any ideas right now for a jam or something? And then he'll come up with his thing. We'll maybe rearrange it together. Like Down and Out was mostly a collaboration between myself and Cam. And that's like one of my favorite songs with Minivandal. I love how that one turned out.
Hell yeah. I guess that's a plus to have a lot of members in the band, is instead of
there's always someone with an idea.
Somebody's got an idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So is that the case, or is there ever a time where like nobody's got nothing and it's like you're hitting a wall and you're like, holy shit. Does that ever happen?
That's kind of why I was asking it in the beginning
about about how many members.
Is it sometimes too many kitchens in the too many cooks. Okay, too many cooks in the kitchen, or or is it?
I haven't really found that for the most part. Like, there's instances where we've clashed on, you know, certain ideas, or, you know, if someone's very like adamant about, you know, I want to have this part in there, and I mean, if, you know, I think if it fits the song, you know, by all means keep it in. A lot of times it's like an improvement on the existing idea. I don't know. I haven't really found the too many cooks scenario to happen that many times.
I think the toughest part actually, and this is pretty funny, and this happens to most bands that I've played in, is like writing the song usually happens relatively quickly, but then translating, if you have any parts in mind, trying to translate those parts to other people can be kind of difficult.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like the most prominent example is, and especially this is very much the case in Minivandal, is trying to explain what the drum should be doing. It usually ends up being like, you just gotta go like da 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 da, and then like
yeah, our old drummer was not a fan of the way that I attempted to communicate drum parts, which is fair enough. I mean, I will fully admit I'm not a drummer, not a percussionist. I know how it's supposed to sound in my head. Can I translate it? Like, I don't know. Can you go like da da a little bit more? I do need to learn how to communicate that a little bit better, but thankfully he was very good at figuring out what I wanted. So
yeah, but that happens in so many bands though. Like the drum, trying to translate to drums, it's like you can be like, can you play, and just try to like say different albums and stuff or different songs that it might relate to. But then it's just like, if you get into anything where it's like that one section doesn't sound quite right, trying to like explain that, unless you're a drummer, it becomes like very, very like very challenging. And it's pretty hilarious. It leads to like some hilarious like weird jams and weird conversations where it's like, how do you like explain that? What do you do?
Funny that you say that though. I've never thought of that, because I always just assumed that, like, you know, you're a group of musicians together and you can, I never would have thought of that, but that makes sense. Like, if you don't play guitar and you're trying to like explain to the guitarist, like, just do a little or something. Well, I mean, like, what the hell are you talking about?
But that's different, because you can say chords and notes. With a drummer, you can't.
Yeah, but if you don't play the guitar, you might not know what that chord is specifically.
But you usually play something else. If you play piano, a note is a note, just on a different instrument.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But
with a drummer, play an E chord.
Right.
Like the type of music that we do, and I guess this would also definitely hold true for, like, you know, really technical metal stuff, right? Like you got to know your stuff in there and be able to figure that out. But I mean, like we delve into a lot of like diverse genre and like more like world beat type stuff, like things that you don't normally run into here in the music scene in Saskatchewan. Like here it's a lot of, you know, blues, country, rock, straight ahead 4/4 stuff. Ska is on the offbeat or offbeat, so like, you know, 2 and 4, and it just like getting your head around how to play like more jazzy stuff like that as well in ska. Like you need to have a certain mindset and skill set to be able to do that. So everyone we've worked with so far in our musical adventures, I suppose, has that sort of background and can do that well.
Right. Is there a lot of, like, in Saskatchewan, would you say that there is not that many bands that are doing what you guys are doing?
Yeah, we're kind of like, specifically what we're doing, I think right now we're probably the only ones that are doing that now. Like other groups that are doing stuff similar to us, there's a band, I don't know what the current status of Scaravan 1969 is right now at the time that this is being recorded, but they were like I've done some gigs with them, worked with them a little bit. They're very much like a South American kind of street ska stuff. They're more straight ahead ska, whereas we tend to blend it with a lot of other things. So they would be like what I would consider to be the closest actual ska band that we have. The Steadies, who I also do some work with, they do more like they incorporate ska and reggae, definitely more on the reggae side. Like Earl has his island pop brand,
that he's
really good at writing in. And I think Randy Woods also does some ska related stuff too, with his own project with Randy Woods Band. But I think right now, as far as I'm aware, at least, I think we're the only ones that are a little bit more in the ska punk line of things.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Does that make things more complicated? I mean, if you're a country artist, you have many places to play. But if you say I
guess, do you feel like having to break down barriers to be able to?
Yeah, it's kind of, it can be tough. Like, I think to me, and I don't know, hopefully you observe this at Chesterfest or whatever, but like, I think once you actually see the live show, like that's kind of really what sells it to people. Like, people are kind of leery, but like, ska, like, what is that? I don't understand. Yep. But when you actually like sit down and listen to it, it really is a good time. So yeah, it can be a little hard, like on the initial, you know, door knock, you know, breakdown or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Once people, if you actually like take a couple seconds to listen to the stuff, it's good, and it does translate well for live shows and live music.
Right, and that's exactly what happened to me today. Like, you know, I gave it an honest shot, and like halfway through the song, I was in. You had me hooked already, so it was good.
And yeah,
what
had you tried that a year and a half ago?
I wouldn't even have given you half a song.
No.
I just my thoughts and opinions on music in general in the last 2 years has just changed so dramatically, like on its head, man. It's crazy. I'm just more open-minded about it. That's all. Cool. But yeah. Okay. So where can we direct people to find your music? Like, where should we tell our listeners to check you guys out at?
Pretty much on all social media. We've got, well, except TikTok. One of these days I'll get around to making one of those, but we're on pretty much everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm very active on the Twitter account. I guess like the thing I do in my spare times is I trade ska puns with people on Twitter. Like, that's just, I don't know. I got hooked on that a little while ago. There's a guy named Eichler's on there that does, anyway. Yeah, very active on that. Instagram probably be the other one. And then, yeah, we're on all streaming platforms as well. Just search for Minivandal, all one word. We have a website, although does anyone really go to a website nowadays? I don't know. Minivandal.com. Yeah, or just like Google Minivandal. We're there. Look for the band from Saskatoon.
Cool. Right on. We'll put all those links in the description.
I have one final question.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched Whiplash?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just watched it the other day, actually.
Is it realistic or is it bullshit?
I can speak more to that one, I guess. But yeah, it's over the top. You find people can be in any setting, in any competitive music setting. It can be really intense. Never in my life has anyone tried to throw a cymbal at my head.
Yeah, I've never had someone try to throw a chair at me before. Yes.
Okay.
I haven't.
I figured as much.
Oh, I should say also, sorry, at Minivandal Music. That's our handle on all the social media.
All right.
Okay.
Very cool. Is that like, no, never mind. I'll ask you after.
Okay.
All right. Good. It was a pleasure, you guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on. You definitely have an open platform here. If you ever like got something you want to get off your chest, you want to shoot some plugs out there, hit us up, man. We would love to have you guys back. You are part of the family now.
Cool.
And I'm excited to come see you guys live in December. Where's the set in December?
It's December 2nd at the Capitol Music Club in Saskatoon.
Right on. Well, I'll put that in the description too.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for having us on the show. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks a lot. This has been great to like actually talk to somebody about music since the pandemic started. So.
Hell yeah, man.
Awesome.
All right, you guys stick around, and I'm gonna say bye to everybody out there listening.
Adios.
If you guys are okay with it, I would love to end the episode with one of the songs.
Yep, for sure.
Is there any particular one that you want more than another?
I mean, like the most recent one we put out would be Down and Out.
Okay.
Cruise Control is also probably the other one that people would know. Honestly, anyone, whatever one you like the most, go ahead and use it.
Down and Out is the one featuring Muhammad Ali.
Right, that's exactly what happened.
That's what I heard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll title this episode. No.
Yeah.
Ali.
Yeah, my vision is clear that you're in my sights. Get ready, get set, get go. Cause I envision the collision's gonna break you down. Learn to take the hit. Don't get back up, game over. I won. Get down and out, son. Just admit defeat and move along. You should know when you've been beat or you've been bested. Don't test me. Let me hear you say to yourself, I'm down and out. But you're okay though, right? Well, if you say so, better prepare for more. Won't be much fun touching on me lying on the floor. This time, just don't get up. It's pretty obvious to us you can't make the cut, suck it up. You're never gonna be a winner if you keep on keeping on trying to beat me. Learn to take the hit. Don't get back up, game over. I won. You're down and out, son. Just admit defeat and move along. You should know when you've been beat or you've been bested. Don't test me. Hear you say it to yourself, I'm down and out.